Hi friends, in today's video we are going to be doing upcycling household items into Christmas decor. Okay, so for this very first one, we're going to be taking some khaki pants and turning them into a small Christmas tree that you can display just anywhere. So I first took a piece of string and just outlined a kind of half or a quarter of a circle to make the base for the Christmas tree. And I just use poster board, but you can use anything that you've got around the house that's kind of thicker paper wise. Then I folded down 1/3 of an inch on one side and cut off a tiny bit of like a little square at the very top. And then we're going to glue down the one side and then wrap the poster board together so that it makes a kind of cone shape. And this is going to be the base for the Christmas tree. And then I took some old pants that no longer fit and they've got a hole in them, so we can't really wear them anymore. And I'm going to cut the edge hem off and then also cut 3-inch strips. And then I'm just going to seam rip, but you could also just cut this off. And then once I've got those strips cut, I'm going to then cut another 3 inches, so they end up being 3 by 3 inch squares. For each little square piece that we've got, we're going to fold it diagonally to make a little square and iron that down, and then fold in half again to make the square even smaller, or the triangle even smaller, and iron that down. And then we're going to basically glue each piece together and then glue that piece to the cone form. And then I just did the entire base, wrapping it around. Just not quite overlapping on the first one, but later on we'll be overlapping them a little bit more. And then for the second layer, we're going to add some glue in between each piece, so that we can add another triangle piece on top of that, so that each little section is going to be covered. And then we're just going to continue this by adding the next layer in between the first layer. And you're just going to continue that all the way up the cone. For the very top of the tree, I took a 6 by 6 inch piece of the fabric and made it a triangle as well, folding it in half and then folding it in half again. And then with that triangle piece, I'm going to wrap that around the top, with making the pointed piece going down into the tree. And then we're just going to glue it, kind of overlapping one piece and then tucking in another piece. Hopefully you can see visually, because I'm not explaining this super well. And you could leave the tree just like that. Or I actually wanted to add some glitter to the edges to kind of make it look a tiny bit like it had some snow falling down. So I mixed some Mod Podge with some extra fine glitter. And then I'm just going to add that little mixture to the edges of each little piece of this tree. And yes, it does take a really long time, so get your favorite show ready. But this, I think, turned out absolutely gorgeous once it's dried. For this next upcycle, we are going to take some old white t-shirts or any color that you have. I just have some extra white ones that no longer fit my husband and me, so we are going to take all of our extras and turn them into a stocking. So what I first did was cut off the top from the armpits and then cut off the bottom hem. And then I'm just going to cut strips down the sides of the shirt itself in about 1.5 inch piece strips, but I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. Then we're going to, once I've got that all done, we're going to take where it's not cut all the way to the edge, and we're going to diagonally cut those strips so that it makes all of this piece one long yarn piece. And then once I've got all those strips, then you can just pull the, I guess it's not yarn yet, the t-shirt to make little yarn strips. And then I just use my fancy little yarn tool to make it into a ball so that I could crochet with it much easier. And now your ball of yarn is ready, or your t-shirt yarn, and it's ready to crochet with. I didn't actually record me crocheting the video of the stocking because I did use someone else's pattern. So I will just link it in the description below for you guys to watch. But this is how the t-shirt stocking turned out. And honestly, I think it turned out so cool. And I'm really glad that I was able to upcycle some old t-shirts that I no longer can use and didn't really feel comfortable giving to someone else. I'm going to make a denim tree for this next one. So I took some denim that I've been saving, and just, these are all pants. So, and the first one's shorts, but I took the bottom hem of each of these and just cut that off. And then also for this pair, I just took one of the seams from a pair that I used in a previous video. And we're just going to cut that little piece out, just because I wanted it to kind of look like the bottom hem as well with that edging. And then once we've got that, I took them and glued them to another cone that I made from just a poster board like I did in the first tree. And I'm just going to wrap that around the bottom, hot gluing each piece, going from the bottom to the top, and then I'm just going to overlap a little bit of the fabric so that you can't see any of the white cone. And for the sections that were a little bit more bulky as we went up, I just cut little slits in the fabric, and then glued the pieces down, just one on top of each other, so that as we're going up, it's not quite as bulky for those pieces and for the next layer to sit on top of. Once all the denim pieces have been glued and secured to the cone, I then just took some flat-backed pearls and hot glued those to the pieces as well to give it a little bit more of a Christmassy look with some pearls. Okay, for this next DIY, I took some old cans, some aluminum cans, a Diet Coke and a Diet Dr. Pepper, because I really like those right now. And I just took an X-Acto knife and cut off the tops of them. And then I used some sandpaper to make sure the edging wasn't sharp, and also to scuff up all of the aluminum can outside so that when we paint it, the paint adheres to the aluminum a little bit better. So I did that to 2 cans. And then I also cut off a strip to make the top of the bells so that it kind of has like a little hook. I'm then just going to paint these with a matte chestnut color, and when I paint, I did streaks at first, but I found it easier to kind of use that sponge brush and just kind of like pat it down. It made it look a little bit less streaky, and it made it look more like a rusted bell. That's what I'm going for, like a vintage kind of rustic bell. So patting it down makes it look a little bit better, and it makes the paint thicker. And then I'm also going to paint 2 of these tumbling blocks that you can get from Dollar Tree or any size little piece of wood, and we're going to paint those in the same matte chestnut. Then I used a metallic gold color to give these a little bit more of a rustic feel and to make it look a little bit more metal-like and bronzy. So I then just took another sponge brush and kind of just tapped on some of this metallic paint. And then I did accidentally, that very first one, I did way too much paint. So I used a paper towel and I dabbed that around as well to get some of the excess paint off. And then once these were all painted, I then stabbed my X-Acto knife into the top to make a little bit of a slit so that I can insert some string in there to hook the little bell piece to the inside. And then the string I used is some waxed thread, and I cut some pieces off of that and tied knots to one end of it. And then I'm going to insert that into that slit that we made and hot glue the wood piece to the string on the other side so that the wood piece can look like the little bell inside. Once that's complete, I glued the knot to the top of the can, and then we're going to use those strips and make a little loop and hot glue that to the top of the can as well. And then you're going to shake them to make sure that they work and pretend that they make the most beautiful sound ever. I then just tied some jute string to the tops of these so that they can hang. Moving right along to our ornaments, this next one is going to be made out of cardboard boxes that you've got laying around. And I did use my Cricut to cut out a fox, but you can just cut out a design that you want. This one I did using just the old milk carton or cup cardboard. And I basically am just going to trace out this fox that I cut out. And I'm going to do 3 of these with the cardboard so that it can be extra thick. And I just used my X-Acto knife to cut this out. I thought it was a little easier, but in hindsight, I think that scissors probably would have just been easier. So you can do either one if you decide to do this one. Once the 3 cardboard pieces are cut out, I cut out 2 more pieces of fox outlines out of just like this orangish paper that I have. Then I'm going to cut out the kind of eyes and the tail color in the cream. So I'm just cutting out that design for each of them, the eyes right here. And then I'm also going to cut out the tail from this cream color. I then took some flat-backed gems that I have in black for the eyes and made sure that those were going to be the right size, and also picked out one for the nose. And then once I've got those, we're going to glue everything together. So I'm going to glue the 3 cardboard pieces together, and then also the orangish brown colored for the front and the back, as well as the creams to all of the eye placements. And then once I've got the cream placed down, I took some yarn that I had, some fluffy yarn, and used that for the cream tail and also for the eyes to kind of make it look a little bit more like fur, because I didn't want to go and buy fur material, but that would also look absolutely stunning. I just wanted to use what I had on hand, and I had this fluffy yarn on hand, so I used that. And for this next ornament, we're going to take all of our random button assortments that we have, and basically we're going to take the ones that we kind of like, or the ones that we think will match well, or even just a variety of colors would be awesome. I'm going to take all of my like creams and gold, kind of like the rose goldy, I guess is the color. And I'm taking an old ornament, and then I'm going to take off the top because I thought it looked a little bit too cheap. So I'm going to use some ribbon and add the ribbon to the ornament, just kind of stuff it and glue it inside. And then I took some chain for the top little section, and just glued that onto it as well, just wrapping it around. Once that's all done, I then took the pieces that I loved the best, the buttons that I loved the best, and I took off the backing using, like, if any of them had the little piece that comes off of the back, I took that off just with some pliers or some wire cutters, worked great. And we're just going to glue all of these buttons around the bulb or the ornament as wherever we want. As you can see here, I'm taking apart an old jewelry necklace that broke a while back, and I just never decided to wear it again. So I'm using some of those pieces as well instead of just the buttons. I thought it looked just as well with some extra little jewelry pieces. So I'm adding those in as well. And this seriously is one of my absolute favorite ornaments that I've ever made. I think it turned out so beautifully, and I was actually giddy when I finished with it, just because it's fun and unique. And for this last upcycled ornament, I am going to be taking all of these seashells that I received from my wedding to decorate the reception with. And I'm just separating them out to separate all of the ones that match. And right here is actually, I found one of those seashells that was closed. It kind of looks like one of those clam things. I actually find another one here soon. Oh, it's that one right there. And I opened it and it had a lot of clay in it. And this piece that looks like it might be a pearl, but honestly, I don't really know how to tell if it's a pearl. So I'm not sure if it is or not, or if I just got scammed or something, or I'm just pretending for my own sake because it seems like a cool thing. But I did get all of these from Etsy, so maybe it could be a real one. But anyways, I took all of those pieces that matched, and we're going to use them and wrap them around a foam ball to make an ornament. So I just used hot glue and glued all of the edges to the seashells and gluing all the way around the foam ball. And then I'm also using pieces to glue on top of each other so that there's no gaps necessarily showing the foam down below. So I just finished all of that. I then took some more of those flat back pearls from earlier and just added them and hot glued them to pieces and areas that you could still see the foam or that I felt needed just a little bit more like coverage. So I added those, and then once I saw that everything looked pretty good, I took a little piece of, or like a little tiny pin that had a pearl that matched the colors, so like a cream pearl, and some ribbon, and I inserted that into the foam piece to hold the ornament. And then I didn't record this part, but I did take a little bit of hot glue and added that to the pin and then inserted it so that it will hold it a little bit better. I also thought this seashell would be gorgeous as an ornament, so I took a little piece of jewelry that usually goes like on the back of a bead, and I painted this one gold because I only had a silver one. And then I'm going to also use that same colored paint, and I'm going to just add a little bit of accents to this beautiful seashell, just painting like the edges. I then took some gold wire and the little bead and hot glued that to the top of the seashell to make it an ornament. Thank you so very much for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, of course, enjoy, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me and grow and make more videos for you in the future. If you did stick around, though, I absolutely appreciate you guys, and go ahead and leave your favorite Christmas emoji in the comments. Have a great evening, guys. Bye!